took a year between the life I had and what was next, with no fixed itinerary. The calendar went blank from June to June, a luxury or a necessary. The world is complicated, views on gaps, on people who step off the standard maps and navigate without the ladder's rungs. The gap year, that's the bravest kind of space to put between one chapter and the next page's face, to sit inside the comma of your story. The gap year, its own particular glory. I spent a month relearning how to cook from actual hunger, not a method. I walked 3 coastlines with no particular aim, and let the weather say what needed said. The urgency of nothing turned productive was more than any schedule could have structured into anything as real as this. The gap year, that's the bravest kind of space to put between one chapter and the next page's face, to sit inside the comma of your story. The gap year, its own particular glory. Not every year is progress in the forward sense. Some years are excavation past the dents, accumulation of the automatic. The gap year, that's the bravest kind of space to put between one chapter and the next page's face, to sit inside the comma of your story. The gap year, its own particular glory. By the following June I had a clearer outline, not of what to do, but where my own line between performing life and living it had drifted from the honest benefit of knowing what I actually wanted there. The gap year was the breath, and I needed air. Gap year, the comma breeze between the winter and the spring that weaves itself from what was left inside the pause. The gap year without clause. The Celts believe that certain places hold a thinness between this world and something more, a cliff, a crossing, a particular field where the ordinary world grows less opaque than before. I found my own a bench beside a track where trains go by and nothing quite comes back to the regular weight of being ordinary. Thin places where the membrane of the day goes almost transparent, almost gives way to whatever lives on the other side of now. Thin places, you don't question them somehow. There's a kitchen window in my mother's house that holds the early morning like a vow. The light at 6 comes in without permission, and the room becomes a thin place, don't ask how. These aren't dramatic or announced with fanfare, just suddenly the air is thinner there, and you can feel a little more of everything. Thin places where the membrane of the day goes almost transparent, almost gives way to whatever lives on the other side of now. Thin places, you don't question them somehow. The mystics built their churches on these spots. The architects of feeling tied their knots in landscapes where the thinness gathered most. Thin places where the membrane of the day goes almost transparent, almost gives way to whatever lives on the other side of now. Thin places, you don't question them somehow. I brought you to my bench above the track and pointed at the nothing, pointed back at the ordinary field and the unremarkable sky, and waited for the thinness to apply. You sat a minute, then you turned to me and said, I feel it too. And that was everything. Thin places here and there, scattered through the ordinary where the real thing presses close against the day. Thin places where I like to stay. There is a word in Welsh, Hyrate they say, for longing for a home that's changed or gone, a grief for something you can't quite return to, because the thing you left won't be put on again, like a coat you've outgrown in the arms, but still somehow remember kept you warm. The returning, not the same as going back. The road looks right, but something's off the track. You stand in the familiar like a stranger. The returning, beautiful and dangerous. I drove back to the town I'd left at 20, expecting something preserved and intact. Instead I found the bakery a bank now, and my old street redrawn along a different fact. The park bench where I'd sat through all of August had been replaced, which felt the most outrageous of all the minor changes in the record. The returning, not the same as going back. The road looks right, but something's off the track. You stand in the familiar like a stranger. The returning, beautiful and dangerous. But then the corner where the light falls late, in the particular way that evening late September does, that part was still exact. The returning, not the same as going back. The road looks right, but something's off the track. You stand in the familiar like a stranger. The returning, beautiful and dangerous. I sat on the new bench in the old park spot and let it be the thing that it was not, the thing it had replaced, and found a peace in letting the original release into the changed version, still the place where something in the light still holds my face. The returning done right is not about reclaiming what took flight. It's standing in the changed and saying yes, I know you still. The returning nonetheless. The restaurant had one long table down the center, where strangers sat and shared the evening's roster of dishes passed and poured and offered freely, the way a long table tends to foster.
We were seated at the elbows of each other,
not quite neighbors and not quite together,
but sharing the
a social proposition,
a democratic seating
disposition that asks you to inhabit the communal, the long table. Everyone's a stranger first, then someone passes bread and breaks the worst of the silence, and the evening opens wide. The long table, nothing left to hide.
You pass the roasted tomatoes without asking.
I took them like I'd always been tasked with,
receiving from your side without a word.
By the second course the whole table had heard each other's reasons for being there that Thursday. The long table had dissolved the Wednesday.
Through the door with their separate reservations,
the long table, everyone's a stranger first, then someone passes bread and breaks the worst of the silence, and the evening opens wide. The long table, nothing left to hide.
we lingered past dessert and past the check.
The long table had us both in its effect of making strangers into something more. The long table, everyone's a stranger first, then someone passes bread and breaks the worst of the silence, and the evening opens wide. The long table, nothing left to hide.
We left together by coincidence of coats,
Hanging on the same peg as fate knows.
its cases in the most oblique of ways.
2 coats, 1 peg, the end of Thursday's days.
The long table knew before the coats did
What the passing of the tomatoes hid. The long table,
still seated,
the olive oil between us on the cloth, the evening and the bread, and nothing lost by sitting down beside a stranger here. The long table, the finest place this year. You mapped the apartment in the second week, which drawers held what and where the draft came through. The corner where reception disappeared, and the one lamp that actually cast true. I brought my own map, incompatible with yours in several areas debatable. Which corner was the reading corner, rightfully? 2 maps of the same territory, each one telling a different story of the same 1,200 square feet contested. Domestic Domestic cartography, the art of the shared floor. Negotiating whose map gets the drawer. The coffee maker's jurisdiction, the sill. Domestic cartography, and we're mapping still. The kitchen was straightforward. You took the left, I took the right. The pantry split, bereft of any controversy, clean and done. The living room was where we came undone. 3 weeks of rearranging and repositioning the furniture and diplomatic conditioning,
until the afternoon it just felt right,
and neither of us mentioned who had the oversight
of the final configuration.
Mutual. Domestic cartography, the art of the shared floor. Negotiating whose map gets the drawer. The coffee maker's jurisdiction, the sill. Domestic cartography, and we're mapping still. The best maps are the ones drawn together
through the various interior weather
of two people learning the same terrain. Domestic cartography, the art of the shared floor. Negotiating whose map gets the drawer. The coffee maker's jurisdiction, the sill. Domestic cartography, and we're mapping still. There's a corner neither of us claimed, the one between the bookcase and the framed print from the market. Neither map includes it, belongs to no jurisdiction, no requisite
territory of either.
It's the common land. Domestic cartography's unclaimed strand.
Still mapping,
still negotiating
the 1,200 square feet of the shared.
The drafty corner and the lamp that cared
about the reading.
Domestic mapped in ours. Domestic cartography, the finest hours. In summer there are 9 full hours of daylight. After 5 o'clock I did the calculation, which means the evening has more room than winter offers for this kind of conversation.
I never thought to measure it in hours.
The evening always felt like what it empowers, rather than a quantity to count. But your arithmetic has changed my outlook.
On dusk I gave the evening a new textbook,
and now I measure what I used to feel. Dusk arithmetic, counting what remains after 5 o'clock and after all the day's campaigns. 9 hours is a fortune by any measure. Dusk arithmetic, arithmetic, the evening's treasure.
We spent 4 of the 9 hours on the roof,
with nothing in the city as our proof
that 9 hours was not a single hour too many.
The calculation didn't have a penny
remaining at the end.
We'd spent it all
on the particular dusk of early fall.
The arithmetic of evenings well spent
returns a higher yield than what was lent
to the clock from the supply of afternoon. Dusk arithmetic, counting what remains after 5 o'clock and after all the day's campaigns. 9 hours is a fortune by any measure. Dusk arithmetic, the evening's treasure. In December there are fewer hours to spend.
The dusk arithmetic reaches its end
sooner, which is why we budget March. Dusk arithmetic, counting what remains after 5 o'clock and after all the day's campaigns. 9 hours is a fortune by any measure. Dusk arithmetic, the evening's treasure.
Last Tuesday
we ran into overtime
past the 9-hour dusk
arithmetic's prime
and into the borrowed hours of the dark,
which isn't in the formula a lark.
We overspent the dusk and didn't care.
Dusk arithmetic is just a baseline there. Dusk arithmetic, 9 hours remaining.
We'll spend them on the roof above the street, with nothing in the city and the beat
of what the evening offers, unaccounted. Dusk arithmetic, we far exceeded. The best rooms have a quality of ambient, a warmth that isn't traceable to source. The lamp is part of it, the rug the window, but none of those alone can run the course of making somewhere feel the way it feels when all the elements complete their seals, and something greater than the summer arrives. Ambient, the atmosphere we make, not built from any single choice or take, but from the accumulation of the small. Ambient, that's what I wanna call what we've been building here. It took a season to develop properly, the throw arranged and rearranged by instinct, the books placed where the light allows the reading, and the chair moved twice until the feeling distinct. We settled into some we've been building here. You can't design ambient from scratch. You have to live inside it, let it hatch from the residue of genuine inhabiting. Ambient, the atmosphere we make, not built from any single choice or take, but from the accumulation of the small. Ambient, that's what I wanna call what we've been building here. A friend came over and stood in the doorway and said, "This room, there's something in the hallway." Tone, not architecture, in the air. Something that announces someone lives here and means it. That's the ambient achieved. The room became itself, and I believed. Ambient, soft and real. The atmosphere you cannot buy or steal, only earn through living in a place. Ambient, the room that holds your face without trying. That's the one. Ambient, and everything I've done. The dog that slept outside the corner shop belonged to everyone and no one there. He answered to whatever name you gave and wore his independence like an air. I'd give him half my sandwich on the way. He'd walk me to the corner, then turn away toward the afternoon and his own agenda. Property of no one, free and unclaimed, wanders through the morning, never really tamed, but shows up when the weather suits and stays just long enough. Property of no one, and somehow loved. I recognize a piece of him in me, the wandering attachment, loose and wide, belonging to the neighborhood as whole, but never fully stepping all the way inside. There's a liberty in the uncommitted roam, in being everywhere, a kind of home, without the weight of being anyone's. Property of no one, free and unclaimed, wanders through the morning, never really tamed, but of no one, and somehow loved. But even he would pause at certain doors, as if considering what a threshold's for, and weigh the warmth against the open road. Property of no one, free and unclaimed, wanders through the morning, never really tamed, but shows up when the weather suits and stays just long enough. Property of no one, and somehow loved. One February morning he was gone. The corner shop assumed he'd carried on to some other block, some other sandwich half, some other person's unremarkable laugh that made him pause and calculate the risk of staying. And I understood the arithmetic. Property of no one, still somewhere, moving through the afternoon with care. If you see him, give him half of what you've got. Property of no one, loved a lot. I keep a box of things that didn't happen, a ticket stub for the show we never saw, a menu from the restaurant that closed before we ever made it through the door, an archivist of almost and not quite, of afternoons that edge towards something bright, then folded back before they came to anything. The archivist, that's me, that's what I do. I catalog the distance between us two, the gap between the almost and the fact. The archivist keeps everything intact. There's a voicemail I have never played, from a Tuesday in the early part of May. The notification still unmarked and blue, an artifact of something I withdrew, an unopened letter from a version of myself that knew exactly what it wanted on the shelf of courage, and I wasn't there that day. The archivist, that's me, that's what I do. I catalog the distance between us two, the gap between the almost and the fact. The archivist keeps everything intact, but archives are of a record is to begin again with better information this time. The Archivist, that's me, that's what I do. I catalog the distance between us two, the gap between the almost and the fact. The Archivist keeps everything intact. I played the voicemail on a Thursday night, 3 years too late, which felt entirely right. Your voice was casual, asking about a walk, just a walk, the simplest kind of talk. I wrote it in the ledger, filed it clean, the finest thing I'd failed to hear between. The Archivist, the Archivist still here, maintaining the collection year by year. But one of these mornings I'll close the box, walk out the door without the catalog of locks, and let the living happen unrecorded. That's the version of myself most worth rewarding. There's a stage in language learning called the first Fluency. When you stop translating and think directly in the new tongue instead, no longer calculating, just creating. I remember mine in French, age 17, the moment when the French was in between me and the world, no English in the middle.
I've been learning you the same way, slowly
Translating everything at first, then wholly
starting to think in the language of you.
First Fluency, the moment translation stops, when you just know without the mental props of working through it word by careful word. First Fluency, the most natural thing I've heard. Your humor needed footnotes in the beginning, the references were a slow inning, by inning education in your world.
Mine required patience, I've been told.
My frame of reference runs in its own current, and not every stranger gets the concurrent.
But something shifted somewhere around month 3,
when the translation fell away in me, and I just understood without the working. First Fluency, the moment translation stops, when you just know without the mental props of working through it word by careful word. First Fluency, the most natural thing I've heard. The linguists say first Fluency is permanent,
even with neglect it stays determinant.
you don't unlearn the language of a person. First Fluency.
conversation stops when you just know without the mental props of working through it word by careful word. First fluency, the most natural thing I've heard. Last week you made a joke I would have missed. 6 months ago I had the grammar for it. Now I laugh before you'd finished. Caught it in the first syllable, the way a native would. First fluency, and it felt exactly good. First fluency, no longer translating, thinking in the language of each other now. The footnote's gone, the working out somehow. The most natural thing we've ever known. First fluency, and finally at home. You speak in open parentheses. You start a thought and leave it dangling in the air. The clause inside the bracket unresolved, and everyone just waiting for the pair. I've been accused of this since I was 9. The teacher circling every hanging line in red. Close your parentheses, she said. But certain thoughts resist the closing bracket. They need the open in the room to pack it with whatever comes along to fill it. Open parenthesis, the thoughts still running into whatever the next sentence is becoming. I'll close it when I know what goes inside. Open parenthesis, with you beside. You finish them, that's what I've come to notice. The clauses I abandon without notice. You'll pick up 3 days later, mid-conversation. I keep a file of your open punctuation. The unresolved and hanging in the pending brackets waiting for their proper ending. Two people sharing the same grammar system. One opens what the other needs to christen, with the closing that completes the sentence. Open parenthesis, the thoughts still running into whatever the next sentence is becoming. I'll close it when I know what goes inside. Open parenthesis, with you beside. The sentence that began in early April is still unfinished. That's entirely capable of being the best sentence either wrote. Open parenthesis, the thoughts still running into whatever the next sentence is becoming. I'll close it when I know what goes inside.
used to need the closing before I could proceed.
Every bracket shut,
every sentence free
from its dependency on what came after.
Now I've learned to trust the open chapter.
The parenthesis that holds us still unshut
is not a flaw, it's everything we've got. Open parenthesis, still open.
The thought inside still warm and running free. The bracket holds whatever we will be.
Open, for as long as open is enough. Open parenthesis, and that's the good stuff. The prosecution called its first witness, a crocus through the sidewalk crack admitted, a forsythia igniting on the corner. The case for winter's end committed. I sat beside you at the bench of judgment, watching the seasonal argument unfold with all its yellow, irrefutable.
The defense for winter had no counter exhibit,
not one frost left that anyone could credit.
The verdict came in with the crocus,
Evidence of spring. The case is made. The crocus and the forsythias parade. The prosecution rests. The jury's warm. Evidence of spring, a unanimous reform. You brought your camera for the documentation, each bloom a careful piece of argumentation against whoever claimed the code could hold.
I brought my disagreement,
also bold, about the weather's right to linger question, whether spring was more than a suggestion.
but even I couldn't cross-examine
The crocus, the forsythia, had everyone's focus, and the evidence was simply overwhelming. Evidence of spring. The case is made. The crocus and the forsythias parade. The prosecution rests. The jury's warm. Evidence of spring, a unanimous reform.
filed with the court.
One afternoon in March,
2 people and a sidewalk and a larch.
turning green, Exhibit A through Z. Evidence of spring. The case is made. The crocus and the forsythias parade. The prosecution rests. The jury's warm. Evidence of spring, a unanimous reform.
The final exhibit was a Robin 3,
appeared on cue, completely unprompted, free
from any legal coaching from either side.
They sang and the defense attorney cried.
The gavel came down gently on the bench.
Spring was hereby proven. The code was quenched. Evidence gathered.
Case submitted.
The crocus and the robin and the worm.
The forsythias sworn.
Testimony sworn. Evidence of spring.
And we were there.
Filed under April. Finding you somewhere. You have a considered opinion on most things, from bread to bridge construction to the news. But you deliver them as invitations, not verdicts, which is your particular use. I used to argue for the sport of arguing, a debater who had never stopped performing, the closing argument on ordinary life. Then you asked me what I thought about the wine, not to disagree but to align or realign, or just compare notes. Gently considered opinion, not the final word, just the opening of something to be heard. You share yours and I'll share mine, and we'll see. Considered opinion, offered carefully. You have an essay on the proper ratio of silence to conversation in the evening. I read it in the way you settle in and find the quiet without pushing or heaving. And you have thoughts on the particular light of late October, how it differs from the white of March. And you were right, of course you were. The best opinions are the ones that make room
for the other
person's view inside the same room, without displacing what they brought to the table. Considered opinion, not the final word, just the opening of something to be heard. You share yours and I'll share mine, and we'll see. Considered opinion, offered carefully.
I've revised several of my long-held views,
not under pressure, just from better news
that your
considered opinion provided. Considered opinion, not the final word, just the opening of something to be heard. You share yours and I'll share mine, and we'll see. Considered opinion,
offered carefully. On the subject of the two of us, you offered your considered without fuss. I offered mine across the kitchen table, and we found ourselves remarkably able to hold the same conclusion, different roads. Considered opinion, the finest episode. Still considering, still offering, the table set for every point of view. My considered opinion is, it's you. And your considered opinion, I've been told, is the most persuasive thing I'll ever hold.
Took a year between the life I had and what was next, with no fixed itinerary. The calendar went blank from June to June. A luxury or a necessary. The world is complicated, views on gaps, on people who step off the standard maps and navigate without the ladder's rungs. The gap year, that's the bravest kind of space to put between one chapter and the next page's face. To sit inside the comma of your story. The gap year, its own particular glory. I spent a month relearning how to cook from actual hunger, not a method. I walked 3 coastlines with no particular aim, and let the weather say what needed said. The urgency of nothing turned productive was more than any schedule could have structured into anything as real as this. The gap year, that's the bravest kind of space to put between one chapter and the next page's face. To sit inside the comma of your story. The gap year, its own particular glory. Not every year is progress in the forward sense. Some years are excavation past the dense accumulation of the automatic. The gap year, that's the bravest kind of space to put between one chapter and the next page's face. To sit inside the comma of your story. The gap year, its own particular glory. By the following June I had a clearer outline, not of what to do, but where my own line between needed air. Gap year, become a breeze between the winter and the spring that weaves itself from what was left inside the pause. The gap year without claws. The Celts believe that certain places hold a thinness between this world and something more. A cliff, a crossing, a particular field where the ordinary world grows less opaque than before. I found my own a bench beside a track where trains go by and nothing quite comes back to the regular weight of being ordinary. Thin places where the membrane of the day goes almost transparent, almost gives way to whatever lives on the other side of now. Thin places, you don't question them somehow. There's a kitchen window in my mother's house that holds the early morning like a vow. The light at 6 comes in without permission, and the room becomes a thin place, don't ask how. These aren't dramatic or announced with fanfare, just suddenly the air is thinner there, and you can feel a little more of everything. Thin places where the membrane of the day goes almost transparent, almost gives way to whatever lives on the other side of now. Thin places, you don't question them somehow. The mystics built their churches on these spots. The architects of feeling tied their knots in landscapes where the thinness gathered most. Thin places where the membrane of the day goes almost transparent, almost gives way to whatever lives on the other side of now. Thin places, you don't question them somehow. I brought you to my bench above the track and pointed at the nothing, pointed back at the ordinary field and the unremarkable sky, and waited for the thinness to apply. You sat a minute, then you turned to me and said, I feel it too. And that was everything. Thin places here and there, scattered through the ordinary where the real since the day. Thin places where I like to stay. There is a word in Welsh, Hyreth they say, for longing for a home that's changed or gone, a grief for something you can't quite return to, because the thing you left won't be put on again, like a coat you've outgrown. Still somehow remember all its charms from the inside, from the years it kept you warm. The returning, not the same as going back. The road looks right, but something's off the track. You stand in the familiar like a stranger, the returning, beautiful and dangerous. I drove back to the town I'd left at 20, expecting something preserved and intact. Instead I found the bakery a bank now, and my old street redrawn along a different fact. The park bench where I'd sat through all of August had been replaced, which felt the most outrageous of all the minor changes in the record. The returning, not the same as going back. The road looks right, but something's off the track. You stand in the familiar like a stranger, the returning, beautiful and dangerous. But then the corner where the light falls late, in the particular way, that evening late, September does, that part was still exact. The returning, not the same as going back. The road looks right, but something's off the track. You stand in the familiar like a stranger, the returning, beautiful and dangerous. I sat on the new bench in the old park spot and let it be the thing that it was not, the thing it had replaced, and found a peace in letting the original release into the changed version, still the place where something in the light still holds my face. The returning done right is not about reclaiming what took flight. It's standing in the changed and saying yes the returning nonetheless.
The restaurant had one long table down the center, where strangers sat and shared the evening's roster of dishes passed and poured and offered freely, the way a long table tends to foster.
We were seated at the elbows of each other,
not quite neighbors and not quite together,
but sharing the salt
and the olive oil. The long table is a social proposition,
a democratic seating
disposition that asks you to inhabit the communal. The long table, everyone's a stranger first, then someone passes bread and breaks the worst of the silence, and the evening opens wide. The long table, nothing left to hide.
You pass the roasted tomatoes without asking.
I took them like I'd always been tasked with,
receiving from your side without a word.
By the second course the whole table had heard each other's reasons for being there that Thursday. The long table had dissolved the Wednesday.
Through the door with their separate reservations.
The long table, everyone's a stranger first, then someone passes bread and breaks the worst of the silence, and the evening opens wide. The long table, nothing left to hide.
We lingered past dessert and past the check.
The long table had us both in its effect of making strangers into something more. The long table, everyone's a stranger first, then someone passes bread and breaks the worst of the silence, and the evening opens wide. The long table, nothing left to hide.
We left together by coincidence of coats,
Hanging on the same peg as fate knows.
its cases in the most oblique of ways.
2 coats, 1 peg, the end of Thursday's days.
The long table knew before the coats did
What the passing of the tomatoes hid. The long table,
still seated,
the olive oil between us on the cloth, the evening and the bread, and nothing lost by sitting down beside a stranger here. The long You mapped the apartment in the second week. Which drawers held what and where the draft came through. The corner where reception disappeared. And the one lamp that actually cast true. I brought my own map, incompatible with yours in several areas debatable. Which corner was the reading corner, rightfully? Two maps of the same territory, each one telling a different story. Of the same 1,200 square feet, contested. Domestic cartography, the art of the shared floor. Negotiating whose map gets the drawer. The coffee maker's jurisdiction, the sill. Domestic cartography, and we're mapping still. The kitchen was straightforward. You took the left, I took the right. The pantry split, bereft of any controversy, clean and done. The living room was where we came undone. 3 weeks of rearranging and repositioning the furniture and diplomatic conditioning.
Until the afternoon it just felt right.
And neither of us mentioned who had the oversight
Of the final configuration.
Mutual. Domestic cartography, the art of the shared floor. Negotiating whose map gets the drawer. The coffee maker's jurisdiction, the sill. Domestic cartography, and we're mapping still. The best maps are the ones drawn together
Through the various interior weather
of two people learning the same terrain. Domestic cartography, the art of the shared floor. Negotiating whose map gets the drawer. The coffee maker's jurisdiction, the sill. Domestic cartography, and we're mapping still. There's a corner neither of us claimed, the one between the bookcase and the framed print from the market. Neither map includes it, belongs to no jurisdiction, no requisite territory of either. It's the common land, domestic cartography's unclaimed strand.
Still mapping,
Still negotiating
the 1,200 square feet of the shared.
the drafty corner and the lamp that cared
About the reading,
domestic mapped in ours. Domestic cartography, the finest hours. In summer there are 9 full hours of daylight. After 5 o'clock I did the couch calculation, which means the evening has more room than winter offers for this kind of conversation.
I never thought to measure it in hours.
The evening always felt like what it empowers, rather than a quantity to count. But your arithmetic has changed my outlook.
On dusk, I gave the evening a new textbook.
And now I measure what I used to feel. Dusk arithmetic, counting what remains after 5 o'clock and after all the day's campaigns. 9 hours is a fortune by any measure. Dusk arithmetic, the evening's treasure.
We spent 4 of the 9 hours on the roof,
with nothing in the city as our proof
that 9 hours was not a single hour too many.
the calculation didn't have a penny
Remaining at the end
we'd spent it all
on the particular dusk of early fall.
the arithmetic of evenings well spent
Returns a higher yield than what was lent
to the clock from the supply of afternoon. Dusk arithmetic, counting what remains after 5 o'clock and after all the day's campaigns. 9 hours is a fortune by any measure. Dusk arithmetic, the evening's treasure. In December there are fewer hours to spend.
The dusk arithmetic reaches its end
Sooner, which is why we budget March. Dusk arithmetic, counting what remains after 5 o'clock and after all the day's campaigns. 9 hours is a fortune by any measure. Dusk arithmetic, the evening's treasure.
Last Tuesday
We ran into overtime,
past the 9-hour dusk
arithmetic's prime,
and into the borrowed hours of the dark.
which isn't in the formula a lark.
We overspent the dusk and didn't care.
Dusk arithmetic is just a baseline there. Dusk arithmetic, 9 hours remaining.
We'll spend them on the roof
Above the street, with nothing in the city and the beat of what the evening offers, unaccounted. Dusk arithmetic, we far exceeded. The best rooms have a quality of ambient, a warmth that isn't traceable to source. The lamp is part of it, the rug the window, but none of those alone can run the course of making somewhere feel the way it feels when all the elements complete their seals.
atmosphere we make, not built from any single choice or take, but from the accumulation of the small. Ambient, that's what I wanna call what we've been building here. It took a season to develop properly, the throw arranged and rearranged by instinct, the books placed where the light allows the reading, and the chair moved twice until the feeling distinctly settled into something worth returning, something with the quality of earning its warmth through all the small, deliberate acts. Ambient, the atmosphere we make, not built from any single choice or take, but from the accumulation of the small. Ambient, that's what I wanna call what we've been building here. You can't design ambient from scratch. You have to live inside it, let it hatch from the residue of genuine inhabiting. Ambient, the atmosphere we make, not built from any single choice or take, but from the accumulation of the small. Ambient, that's what I wanna call what we've been building here. A friend came over and stood in the doorway and said, "This room, there's something in the hallway. Tone, not architecture, in the air. Something that announces someone lives here and means it. That's the ambient achieved." The room became itself, and I believed. Ambient, ambient, soft and real, the atmosphere you cannot buy or steal, only earn through living in a place. Ambient, the room that holds your face without trying, that's the one. Ambient, and everything I've done. The dog that slept outside the corner shop belonged to everyone and no one there. He answered to whatever name you gave and wore his independence like an air. I'd give him half my sandwich on the way.
He'd walk me to the corner and turn away toward the afternoon and his own agenda. Property of no one, free and unclaimed, wanders through the morning, never really tamed, but shows up when the weather suits and stays just long enough. Property of no one, and somehow loved. I recognize a piece of him in me, the wandering attachment, loose and wide, belonging to the neighborhood as whole, but never fully stepping all the way inside. There's a liberty in the uncommitted roam, in being everywhere, a kind of home, without the weight of being anyone's. Property of no one, free and unclaimed, wanders through the morning, never really tamed, but shows up when the weather suits and stays just long enough. Property of no one, and somehow loved. But even he would pause at certain doors, as if considering what a threshold's for, and weigh the warmth against the open road. Property of no one, free and unclaimed, wanders through the morning, never really tamed, but shows up when the weather suits and stays just long enough. Property of no one, and somehow loved. One February morning he was gone. The corner shop assumed he'd carried on to some other block, some other sandwich half, some other person's unremarkable laugh that made him pause and calculate the risk of staying. And I understood the arithmetic. Property of no one, still somewhere, moving through the afternoon with care. If you see him, give him half of what you've got. Property of no one, loved a lot. Keep a box of things that didn't happen, a ticket stub for the show we never saw, a menu from the restaurant that closed before we ever made it through the door, an archivist of almost and not quite, of afternoons that edge towards something bright, then folded back before they came
do anything. The Archivist, that's me, that's what I do. I catalog the distance between us two, the gap between the almost and the fact. The Archivist keeps everything intact. There's a voicemail I have never played, from a Tuesday in the early part of May. The notification still unmarked and blue, an artifact of something I withdrew. An unopened letter from a version of myself that knew exactly what it wanted on the shelf of courage, and I wasn't there that day. The Archivist, that's me, that's what I do. I catalog the distance between us two, the gap between the almost and the fact. The Archivist keeps everything intact. But archives are for reference, not for living in. The whole point of a record is to begin again with better information this time. The Archivist, that's me, that's what I do. I catalog the distance between us two, the gap between the almost and the fact. The Archivist keeps everything intact. I played the voicemail on a Thursday night, 3 years too late, which felt entirely right. Your voice was casual, asking about a walk, just a walk, the simplest kind of talk. I wrote it in the ledger, filed it clean, the finest thing I'd failed to hear between. The Archivist, the Archivist still here, maintaining the collection year by year. But one of these mornings I'll close the box, walk out the door without the catalog of locks, and let the living happen unrecorded. That's the version of myself most worth rewarding. There's a stage in language learning called the first Fluency. When you stop translating and think directly in the new tongue instead, no longer calculating, just creating. I remember mine in French, age 17, the moment when the French was in between me and the world, no English in the middle.
I've been learning you the same way, slowly
translating everything at first, then wholly starting to think in the language of you. First fluency, the moment translation stops, when you just know without the mental props of working through it word by careful word. First fluency, the most natural thing I've heard. Your humor needed footnotes in the beginning. The references were a slow inning, by inning education in your world.
Mine required patience, I've been told.
My frame of reference runs in its own current, and not every stranger gets the concurrent.
But something shifted somewhere around month 3,
when the translation fell away in me, and I just understood without the working. First fluency, the moment translation stops, when you just know without the mental props of working through it word by careful word. First fluency, the most natural thing I've heard. The linguists say first fluency is permanent,
even with neglect it stays determinant.
you don't unlearn the language of a person. First fluency, the moment translation stops, when you just know without the mental props of working through it word by careful word. First fluency, the most natural thing I've heard.
Last week you made a joke I would have missed.
6 months ago I had the grammar for it.
Now I laugh before you'd finished.
Caught it in the first syllable, the way a native would. First fluency, and it felt exactly good. First fluency,
No longer translating,
thinking in the language of each other now.
the footnotes gone, the working out somehow.
The most natural thing we've ever known. First fluency, and finally at home. You speak in open parentheses. You start a thought and leave it dangling in the air. The clause inside the bracket unresolved, and everyone just waiting for the pair. I've been accused of this since I was 9. The teacher circling every hanging line in red. Close your parentheses, she said.
But certain thoughts resist the closing bracket. They need the open in the room to pack it
with whatever comes along to fill it. Open parenthesis, the thoughts still running into whatever the next sentence is becoming. I'll close it when with you beside. You finish them, that's what I've come to notice. The clauses I abandon without notice. You'll pick up 3 days later, mid-conversation.
I keep a file of your open punctuation,
The unresolved and hanging and the pending,
brackets waiting for their proper ending.
two people sharing the same grammar system,
One opens what the other needs to christen,
with the closing that completes the sentence. Open parenthesis, the thoughts still running into whatever the next sentence is becoming. I'll close it when I know what goes inside. Open parenthesis, with you beside.
the sentence that began in early April
Is still unfinished, that's entirely capable.
of being the best sentence either wrote.
Open parenthesis, the thoughts still running into whatever the next sentence is becoming. I'll close it when I know what goes inside. Open parenthesis, with you beside. I used to need the closing before I could proceed.
Every bracket shut
Every sentence free.
from its dependency on what came after.
Now I've learned to trust the open chapter.
The parenthesis that holds us still unshut
Is not a flaw, it's everything we've got. Open parenthesis, still open.
the thought inside still warm and running free. The bracket holds whatever we will be.
Open, for as long as open is enough. Open parenthesis, and that's the good stuff. The prosecution called its first witness, a crocus through the sidewalk crack admitted, a forsythia igniting on the corner. The case for winter's end committed. I sat beside you at the bench of judgment, watching the seasonal argument unfold with all its yellow, irrefutable.
The defense for winter had no counter exhibit.
Not one frost left that anyone could credit.
The verdict came in with the crocus,
Evidence of spring. The case is made. The crocus and the forsythias parade. The prosecution rests. The jury's warm. Evidence of spring, a unanimous reform. You brought your camera for the documentation, each bloom a careful piece of argumentation against whoever claimed the cold could hold.
I brought my disagreement,
Also bold, about the weather's right to linger question, whether spring was more than a suggestion.
but even I couldn't cross-examine
The crocus, the forsythia, had everyone's focus, and the evidence was simply overwhelming. Evidence of spring. The case is made. The crocus and the forsythia's parade. The prosecution rests. The jury's warm. Evidence of spring. A unanimous reform.
filed with the court.
One afternoon in March,
2 people and a sidewalk and a larch.
turning green, Exhibit A through Z. Evidence of spring. The case is made. The crocus and the forsythia's parade. The prosecution rests. The jury's warm. Evidence of spring. A unanimous reform.
The final exhibit was a robin 3,
Appeared on cue, completely unprompted, free
from any legal coaching from either side.
They sang and the defense attorney cried.
The gavel came down gently on the bench.
Spring was hereby proven. The cold was quenched. Evidence gathered.
Case submitted.
The crocus and the robin and the worm.
The forsythia's sworn.
Testimony sworn. Evidence of spring.
And we were there.
Filed under April. Finding you somewhere. You have a considered opinion on most things, from bread to bridge construction to the news. But you deliver them as invitations, not verdicts, which is your particular use. I used to argue for the sport of arguing, a debater who had never stopped performing. The closing argument on ordinary life. Then you asked me what I thought about the wine. Not to disagree, but to align or realign, or just compare notes. Gently considered opinion, not the final word, just the opening of something to be heard. You share yours and I'll share mine, and we'll see. Considered opinion, offered carefully. You have an essay ratio of silence to conversation in the evening. I read it in the way you settle in and find the quiet without pushing or heaving. And you have thoughts on the particular light of late October, how it differs from the white of March. And you were right, of course you were. The best opinions are the ones that make room
for the other
person's view inside the same room, without displacing what they brought to the table. Considered opinion, not the final word, just the opening of something to be heard. You share yours and I'll share mine, and we'll see. Considered opinion, offered carefully.
I've revised several of my long-held views,
Not under pressure, just from better news
that your
considered opinion provided. Considered opinion, not the final word, just the opening of something to be heard. You share yours and I'll share mine, and we'll see. Considered opinion, offered carefully. On the subject of the two of us, you offered your considered without fuss.
I offered mine
Across the kitchen table, and we found ourselves remarkably able to hold the same conclusion, different roads. Considered opinion, the finest episode. Still considering, still offering
the table set for every
point of view. My considered opinion is, it's you. And your considered opinion, I've been told, is the most persuasive thing.